Many people have grown pessimistic about funding optimists. C.T. Jones. In the flow of time, there are those who have closed their hearts, having once believed and been disappointed. They view optimists like a candle in the wind, fragile, naive, and destined to flicker out sooner or later. Their pessimism isn't born from hating the light, but from fearing another burn from that very flame. So when we say many people have grown pessimistic about funding optimists, we're not just talking about money or opportunities, but about faith that's run dry, trust betrayed by hope itself. Yet, optimism isn't illusion, it's the power of rebirth. Optimists are like those who sow seeds in drought. They know the soil is parched, but they still believe rain will come. They don't wait for miracles, they are the miracles. Thus, if this world stops funding belief, stops investing in those who dare to dream, it's no different from draining the oxygen from its own lungs. It's time to shift our perspective. Don't fear optimism, fear pessimism. Pessimism kills every beginning before it can sprout, while optimism, even if it stumbles, plants another seed of hope. Every optimist is a silent investor in the future, daring to believe in what hasn't happened yet. And perhaps only when we learn to fund such souls will the world truly step into dawn, not because light arrives on its own, but because someone persists in kindling it. The market can remain irrational longer than you can stay solvent. John Maynard Keynes. In the investing world, people often believe reason will prevail, but this quote rings like a warning bell. Sometimes, the market doesn't need to be right to endure it, just needs to be believed in. Irrationality can linger, true value can be obscured, and blind faith sometimes triumphs. Yet, looking deeper, this isn't just a finance lesson, it's a philosophy of life. Life is like a market of emotions, beliefs, and values. There are times when everything around us seems absurd. The undeserving succeed, the sincere get hurt, the deceitful are celebrated. In those moments, our reason wants to rebel, to prove that truth will win out. But the question is, do we have the strength to wait until it does? Sometimes, wisdom lies not in trying to change the irrational, but in knowing when to withdraw to preserve our own faith and peace. The wise aren't those who always win arguments, but those who know when to persist and when to let go to avoid exhaustion. The market can be irrational, but so can people's hearts. Not everything right is acknowledged immediately, and not everything celebrated is trustworthy. Remember, your strength isn't in proving the world wrong, but in staying clear-headed when the world goes mad. Dividing complex tasks into simple ones, where people can become experts, is the source of the greatest improvement in productivity. Adam Smith. If you observe any great achievement from a factory, a symphony orchestra, to a successful person, you'll see one common thread. All complexity arises from countless simple things done exceptionally well. Adam Smith once described a pin factory where if one person handled every step, productivity was just a few pins a day. But when the work was divided, one draws the wire, one cuts, one sharpens the head, one packages, productivity soared hundreds of times. The story seems about economics, but it's really a reminder of progress's essence. Specialization is humanity's magic. In life, we're the same. Who hasn't been overwhelmed by massive goals, a distant dream, a skill hard to master, a journey seemingly impossible? But the secret to conquering the great always lies in breaking it down. 1 page a day builds knowledge. 1 step each morning opens a 1,000-mile journey. When we focus on doing one thing well, repeat it, refine it, and persist. We gradually become experts in it. And when many embrace this, each mastering a small part, society leaps forward in giant bounds. Thus, labor productivity isn't just on assembly lines. It's in the mindset of breaking difficulties into what we can excel at today. A bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove you don't need it. Bob Hope. Ironic, isn't it? When you truly need money, the bank sees risk, but when you no longer need it, they see opportunity. It's not just about finance. It's the nature of trust in this society. People only believe in you when you no longer need their belief. The quote makes us laugh, but then sigh softly. For in every sarcastic smile lies a truth. The world favors the already stable, while wary of those stumbling in search of chances. Banks fear risk, just as people fear failure. But if everyone only gives when it's safe, who dares lay the foundation for aspirations? In life, the bank isn't just financial institutions. It could be friends, colleagues, or society around us. They're ready to support when we've proven we can stand alone. And that's the paradox of trust. Real trust rarely comes before success. It appears only after we've proven ourselves. But instead of resenting it, we can see it positively. Precisely because no one lends when we're weak, we're forced to learn strength. Precisely because the world demands proof, we forge resilience. And when we've become someone who doesn't need the loan, that's when all doors naturally open. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. Warren Buffett. In a world dazzling with advertising and consumer temptations, people easily get swept up in numbers, brands, sweet promises. But Warren Buffett, one of history's greatest investors, reminds us, what determines success isn't the price, but the true value within. Price is the surface, it reflects what others see. Value is the depth, it reflects what you ultimately feel. A watch might tell time the same, but one that boosts your confidence and inspires daily work isn't just expensive, it's worth it. Likewise in life, you might pay with time, effort, tears, even lonely nights, but what matters is what you receive. If what you get is growth, patience, confidence, that's value, and such value is priceless. This quote doesn't just teach spending, it teaches living. When loving someone, don't count meetings. Count the emotions given and received. When working, don't just think salary. Think skills, experience, and reputation built. For money can run out, but the value you leave endures. The elements of a good trade are: first, cut losses; second, cut losses; and third, cut losses. If you follow these 3 rules, you might have a chance. Seykota. The financial world is ruthless, where greed and fear intersect every second. There, cutting losses isn't just technical, it's a sign of clarity. It says, I could be wrong, and I'm willing to admit it before it's too late. The 3 cut losses rules remind us of one essence: survival matters more than winning. In investing, losers aren't those who lose. They're those who don't know when to stop. In life too, many fall not from lack of chances, but from not quitting in time, not daring to leave toxic relationships, meaningless jobs, or outdated dreams. Cutting losses is the art of the mature. It demands courage to let go, reason to recognize, and faith that every step back leads to a stronger advance. No one likes losing, but the wise know. Accepting small losses to avoid big ones is the foundation of lasting success. Like a sailor who turns the sail to avoid storms, a skilled trader knows when to retreat to keep the ship intact. And in life, the wise don't insist on being right. They preserve strength to keep going. Every succinct statement about economics is wrong in essence. Alfred Marshall. But economics, like human life, doesn't operate so simply. It's a vast canvas where every stroke connects to hundreds of others. And anyone trying to capture that canvas in one sentence unwittingly omits the truth in the details. Economics isn't just supply-demand, interest rates, or prices. It's human stories of greed, fear, fragile beliefs, and irrationality in seemingly rational choices. A policy right in theory can fail in practice simply because people don't act like optimal machines. That's why every short statement is wrong in essence, not completely false, but missing the rest of the truth. Just as in life, when we hear, "just try hard and succeed," or "money can't buy happiness," we should smile. Each holds only half the reality. Truth is always more complex, profound, and demands understanding, not just hearing. Economics teaches about numbers, but behind numbers are people, and people never follow one rule alone. The only good budget is a balanced one. Adam Smith. A balanced budget isn't just income equaling expenses. It's every resource used for the right purpose, at the right time, with the right value. It's a sign of clarity, long-term vision, and discipline vital, not just for nations, but for individuals. If you spend beyond your means, you borrow from the future. If you save excessively, you miss the present. Balance is knowing when to hold and when to give. In finance, it's survival. In life, it's the art of living. A nation with a balanced budget has a solid economy. A person with a balanced emotional budget, resting when tired, striving when needed, has a healthy soul. And like budgets, life can't always surplus, but can't deficit forever. It needs constant adjustment, for balance isn't a destination, but a process. The modern world makes us crave more. More money, fame, assets. But sometimes, more doesn't bring happiness, only enough brings peace. And perhaps the best budget, financial or soulful, is one that knows to stop when it's enough. Definition of an economist: an expert who can explain tomorrow why what he predicted yesterday didn't happen today. Lawrence J. Peter. Who hasn't been like an economist planning the future, mapping clear intentions, only to find everything changed the next day? Life, like markets, holds unpredictable shifts. A rain, a word, a small decision can redirect the whole path. Economists aren't wrongdoers. They're brave speakers in an unusable world. And so in life, those who dare plan knowing they might err are more admirable than those frozen by fear of failure. The satirical quote doesn't diminish knowledge. It reminds us, understanding is never absolute. Economics isn't fortune-telling. It's relentless effort to grasp human behavior more complex and changeable than any math model. And perhaps the greatest lesson: being wrong isn't failure, if we know why and learn from it. Economists, in the end, are seekers of truth, no matter how teasing it may be. In the practical matters of life, it's not faith that saves, but doubt. Napoleon Bonaparte. People can smile while hiding a knife, speak love while calculating in their hearts. In such a world, faith without wisdom can become a wide open door to hurt, not to sow paranoia, but to awaken critical thinking, the ability to question before believing, reflect before acting. For sometimes, the doubters are the true guardians of real faith. Doubt doesn't kill faith. It purifies it. The blindly faithful easily fall to illusions. Those who doubt find what's truly worthy. In finance, doubt avoids market crashes. In relationships, gentle doubt helps see people clearer. In life, doubt is the brake, keeping the heart from plunging into emotional abysses. The world lacks not believers, but those who know when to believe and when to stop. Faith is the lamp lighting hope. Doubt is the eyes seeing the path clearly. One ignites hope, the other prevents falling into darkness. Only when they walk together do people truly mature. Pay attention to small expenses. A small leak can sink a great ship. In this world, nothing is certain except death and taxes. Benjamin Franklin. A ship doesn't sink from the ocean, but from a small, unpatched leak. A family doesn't go poor from one big spend, but from hundreds of insignificant small ones. A soul doesn't collapse from tragedy, but from accumulated negligence day by day. The quote isn't just for economists, it's for anyone. Knowing sustainability starts with discipline in the smallest things, and saying, "Nothing's certain except death and taxes." Franklin isn't pessimistic. He reminds us of limits and duties. Death is nature's law. No one escapes. Taxes are society's law, the price for order and civilization. They symbolize the boundary between freedom and responsibility, living and existing in community. The latter teaches humility. One warns of carelessness, the other that no one lives outside rules. Together, they form a simple yet sharp lesson. Wise living is controlling the small and accepting the inevitable. In business, there are no friends, only customers. Alejandro Dumas. In business, it often starts with warm handshakes, friendly promises, but ends with numbers and contracts. Not because people turn cold, but because business is value exchange, not emotion exchange. A friend might forgive mistakes, but a customer won't. A friend might trust words, but a customer trusts results only. That's what makes the marketplace a test of honesty, ability, and credibility, not a place for sympathy. Yet, don't take this as denying humanity. On the contrary, it reminds us professionalism is respecting relationships. When you treat friends like customers, you're transparent, fair, and don't let feelings cloud true value. And when you see customers as friends, you add sincerity and understanding, making them want to stay long-term. In business, clarity doesn't kill friendship. It protects it from harm. In life, clarity doesn't erase emotion. It makes emotion more reliable. Nothing is more important in business than agility. Joseph Addison. In business, a second's hesitation can lose you an entire market. An idea one step late becomes a what-if story. The economic world isn't for hesitators. It rewards those who act fast, decide, while others analyze. Agility isn't just speed of movement, but of thinking and reacting. When markets shift, the agile don't panic. They pivot, adapt, reinvent themselves. When new trends emerge, they don't wait. They catch on, experiment, improve. Agility is like a business's bloodstream. If it stops, the body paralyzes. If it flows flexibly, the organization thrives and endures. But fast doesn't mean rushed. Agility is acting with awareness, knowing when to advance and when to pause. The agile aren't the fastest runners, but those who change direction at the perfect moment. For in the marketplace, winners aren't those with most resources, but best at responding to change. When the big blow comes, it already has a proper name: Adelardo López de Ayala. In financial markets, big crashes or booms don't appear suddenly. They're results of event chains, human behaviors, and long-buried factors. When the blow has a name, everyone sees the aftermath, but the safe action or grasp opportunity has passed. Not just for investors, it's a lesson for every life field. Great successes, key turning points, catastrophic failures all stem from small signs the perceptive spot first. By the time you see it, others have labeled it, reported it, storied it. But the golden moment to intervene or prepare is gone. The art is observing before everything becomes too obvious. As the awake, you learn to read signals, spot patterns, prepare for the blow before it stands out. Thus, success or safety comes not from luck, but from seeing ahead what remains unnamed. When possible, save for old age and times of need, for morning sunshine doesn't last all day. He who buys superfluities will soon sell necessities. If you spend less than you earn, you've found the philosopher's stone. An empty purse is hard to carry. Benjamin Franklin. Life is like a new day. Morning sunshine, bright and warm, but it doesn't last forever. Franklin reminds that without preparing for life's rains and evenings, the initial light becomes useless. Saving for old age and hard times isn't selfish. It's protecting yourself and family from unforeseen risks. He also warns of reckless spending. Those buying extras will soon be forced to sell essentials. An empty wallet carries nothing, and this applies materially and spiritually. Living beyond means loses freedom and crisis response. Conversely, spending less than earned not only maintains stability, but finds life's philosopher's stone key to freedom and peace. These seemingly simple advices are guides for every financial decision and wise lifestyle. They teach moderation, planning ahead, prioritizing real value, living sufficiently, smartly, responsibly.